Mr. Scott.
I don't have anything to add.
All right. Now, we know you support the Arizona law. The question here is this that I have. Are you at all concerned about the potential overreach or abuse of that law by giving authorities the right to decide when there is some other violation that would give them the opening to ask about immigration status? Does that bother you at all?
Well, I believe that law enforcement will do the right things. I mean, they're in very tough positions every day. They'll do the right things. I don't believe that I don't believe in any racial profiling. I believe that is despicable. And if anybody does anything like that, I would put a stop to it immediately.
All right, Mr. Scott, while we're on the subject here with you, I want to talk about something that you've been called an embarrassment because of the felony conviction of your former company for Medicare fraud, and you were forced out by your board of directors, that we know is a fact, after they had inflated health care costs and ripped off the taxpayers. I know you were not personally charged, but you did say, and I heard you say this, that you were never interviewed by the FBI. Now, were you not interviewed by the FBI on advice of counsel, or did the FBI not ask you?
The FBI never asked me. First off, I resigned. I mean, I resigned. I believe that we were doing the right things, and I resigned from that company, and I was not interviewed.
You were not.
Well, may I say something
Sure.
about that? Rick, I think the record says that they tried to interview you. They asked several times. I don't know why. Maybe the message didn't get through to you, but the record shows that they did. The truth is that you've given some depositions now in this Solantic matter. You have confidentiality agreements that benefit yourself only in 9 of the 10 cases that were published in the paper today. You should release those records. You should let the public see exactly what's in those records in those 10 cases involving Solantic, this new company that you have today. I mean, we know a lot about Columbia HCA. We know that you, whatever else happened, you wrecked that company while you were there, but nonetheless, we don't know much about Solantic. We'd like to know about it. I would. I'd like to see those records.
Are you willing to disclose all of that?
First off, Bill, what you say is absolutely untrue. You're just a desperate politician throwing anything you want out there. Solantic is a great company. You know, the case you brought up was a disgruntled employee, and that's all it is. It's just a Hail Mary pass trying to come up with something else to change your position.
I didn't create this. This is in today's paper. I didn't create this at all. This is a reporter for the Miami Herald who wrote this story. I'm just talking about it today. It's not a Hail Mary pass. We've been surging in the polls. We're about, I don't know, 2 or 3 points behind at worst according to what was in the polls that I saw today that were in the press. The reality is that I've been getting endorsements. I've been gaining, and you're trying to mask. You're coming out here tonight firing all cylinders at me about things that, you know, you need to be the one who's desperate. I find the word rather strange. You keep using that, career politician, desperate. I'm a proud public servant who knows this state. I was born, well, may I finish this, please? I was born in Florida, raised in Florida, believe in this state, and know this state. Looking forward to being the next governor.
Can we give you 30 seconds here?
Of course.
So, you know, Bill, I don't know where you come up with these polls, but you know, we have focused from day one on how we're going to grow jobs in this state. That's my background. That's what we need today. We need somebody that has a background of building businesses in the state, somebody that knows how to talk companies into moving to the state, talk to individuals about how to grow their companies in the state. That's what I bring to the table. That's why we're doing so well.
I've got another HCA question for you, Mr. Scott. A lot of people like what you're saying out on the campaign trail. You're talking about traditional Republican themes and tax cuts and so on. You say you trust the people more than the government. Well, it was the people who caused your problem, who were under your supervision at HCA. People who you have admitted you did not supervise properly. And you said you learned some lessons from that. But the question here is, how could you have missed such an abuse by your own company?
Well, you know, when you build a company, you have to trust the people you work with. And you set up as many programs as you can set up, and that's what I did. And we built a great company, and we set up programs to make sure we did the right things. And I learned a great lesson. I learned that, you've got to trust but verify. You've got to go back and check and check and check. And I wish I'd done it better, and I learned a lot of lessons. And those are lessons I'll bring as governor. I've learned the lesson of all the lessons I've learned in business, 35 years in business, and the success I've had in business. And I will bring that if hopefully not, if a mistake is made while I'm governor, I'll take responsibility. Again, politicians don't do that. They never take responsibility.
My goodness gracious, I can't believe you keep saying this, Rick. You know, when you were the Columbia HCA CEO, you were so busy micromanaging and looking into it and trying to make every dollar, squeeze every dollar out of it, that you changed from Coke to Pepsi, and yet you weren't aware of the details of what was going on. And I just told you earlier, I told the audience that, you know, back in March of 1997, you left the company in July. You say you left because you resigned, but I know you were forced to resign. But whatever the case, the fact is, back in March of that year, when the first hospital was raided, the New York Times ran a long article about a year-long investigation.
All right,
and I just can't believe that you weren't aware of it. I just can't believe you weren't aware of it.
Mr. Scott?
You know, I've answered this question a lot of times. I feel great about what we built at that company. There's things we could have done better. I wish we had. I learned a lot of lessons. I clearly, as an individual, take responsibility for things, and my opponent doesn't.
All right, let me loosen this up a little bit and get personal. So what? We have a question from Lakeland and Sean McDonough. I want you to watch the screen here.
Governor Christ is a Florida State fan. I'd like to know what team you're pulling for.
See, that's important. You're governor of the state of Florida. Okay. What team are you pulling for?
Well, you mean in sports team, I'm certainly a big fan here of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that's for sure. If you talk about the team that I'm pulling for overall, I'm pulling for the conservative Republican team. I'm pulling for our success in being able to turn this state in the right direction. Right. As you're talking about the Senate race, I'm pulling for Marco Rubio. He's a Republican. He's a conservative. I want to see him elected. And I certainly want to see us come along with a long way. Governor Christ, you know, flipped a bit on the things that he's been for or against. One thing you know about me, and I'm angry like everybody else with a politician or a public candidate who says one thing when he's running and does something else when they're elected. I happen to be proud of the fact that when I'm elected, and I've always kept my word, I have my integrity, my honesty, and I'm proud of that. And that's what I think is the team we need to have leading the state.
Mr. Scott, who are you pulling for?
I'm clearly pulling for Marco Rubio. I'm clearly pulling for the Republicans. I'm a committed Republican. And you know, a year and a half ago, when President Obama got elected, I organized a group called Conservatives for Patients' Rights, and I stood up against the president because I knew that was going to be bad for patients and bad for taxpayers. And I was attacked by President Obama, by Robert Gibbs, his press secretary, personally, because I was willing to do it. And that's what I'll do is, as your governor, I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. I'll stand up for states' rights. And I'm going to stand up for everybody here and how I can help them get a job.
Let me ask you another one. What would you say is your biggest accomplishment? What is it that you want us to remember you by? Mr. McCollum?
Well, for right now, as Attorney General, I have two things, really. When you say a single one, certainly the effort we made on child predators, and I'm very proud of our Internet cyber crime team and the education program that has gone into every middle school and every high school in the state to teach kids how to protect themselves against the cyber criminals that are out there on the Internet today. We have volunteers from the agency. We have trained school resource officers. I've gone into many of these schools myself, and I'm very proud of that. On another level, I'm also proud of the lawsuit I filed against the federal government to overturn Obamacare. I think it's unconstitutional. The Founding Fathers created a set of things they set aside and said these were those things that federal government has the power to do. Everything's else left to the states. We're going to win that lawsuit.
All right. Mr. Scott.
The thing I'm most proud of is my marriage. Ann and I met in high school. We got married 2 years later, 19 years old. We have two wonderful daughters. 27-year-old lives in Naples with her husband, Pierre, and another daughter that teaches special needs children in D.C. that just got married back in June. And so in my life, when I think about when I'm 80 years old, what's going to be important is, you know, stay happily married, have a wonderful family, have a few friends, and hopefully make a difference in the world. But
all right.
It's my family.
Gentlemen, we're moving into our closing statements now. Each candidate will have a minute for that. And again, the order was chosen by a coin toss. So, Mr. Scott, you will go first. Your closing statement.
Sure. I'd like to thank Fox and everybody for viewing. Tonight, you clearly have there's a clear choice. You have a career politician, or you have a business person that has a proven record of success. You have a Tallahassee, Washington insider, or you have a conservative outsider. If you believe that our career politicians have taken our state in the right direction, then you probably should vote for my opponent. If you believe it's time that we held Tallahassee accountable and run it more like a business, then I ask for your vote. I've built businesses, I've created private sector jobs, I've balanced budgets, I've cut costs. I have a specific plan that will create 700,000 jobs. We will cut government spending, we'll phase out the business tax, and we'll reduce property tax rates by 19%. So if you think it's time to hold Tallahassee accountable and change business as usual there, then I'd like to ask for your vote August 24th. And thank you very much for participating.
Mr. Scott, thank you. Mr. McCollum, your closing statement, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you for hosting this again tonight. This has been a wonderful opportunity to showcase this campaign. It's unfortunate that we've had all these attacks, and again, you heard some of that exchange tonight, but the reality is that we're in a state of crisis in Florida today, and we need serious, competent leadership. We need experience. We need somebody whose record is there you can trust. And I can tell you we also need somebody who cares a lot, as I do, and as I gather my opponent does, about his or her family. I said at the opening statement the same thing I'm going to say to you right now. Ingrid and I, my wife, have been married 38 years. We have 3 sons, 2 grandsons. This election's about them. It's about our kids and grandkids and making Florida a better state for them. I have a record I'm proud of. I have a record of fighting illegal immigration. I have a record of supporting the Arizona immigration law. I oppose wasteful spending and higher taxes. I'm very much in favor of those things that are critical for our state. And I think that trust and character matter. The Tampa Tribune said in endorsing me a number of things, but it said about Rick Scott, voters should recognize Scott doesn't have the credentials or the credibility to be entrusted with Florida's welfare. I'm proud of my record and my character background, and I ask for your vote. Thank you, John.
The clock can just kill you. It can just kill you. Thank you. You've both been terrific. We thank you very much, and that concludes our debate. Now you can give them a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
There is another Republican in the race. His name is Michael McAllister from Marco Island, and we wish them all well and thank Mr. McCollum and Mr. Scott for this hour together. The primary for governor is August 24th, 2.5 weeks from today. One of these 2 candidates will go up against the Democratic nominee. So voters will have some decisions to make here. We hope our debate tonight here and a lot of what these gentlemen have had to say will help you understand more about these 2 candidates and the issues that are before us. And before we go, we'd like to have your decision right now for one of these 2 Republican candidates. For whom would you vote for governor of Florida? You can go to our website, myfoxtampabay.com, and look for the debate poll. We will show you the results tonight at 10 o'clock. Until then, I am John Wilson from Fox 13 News. Thank you and good night.